going to give the mighty Fiat four-wheel drive a little test.
Right, give it a test.
It's off-road. Oh my god. It probably doesn't look as bad as it is in the little car.
I said, what a car! All-terrain Fiat vehicle. Here ahead is where mere mortals have to park.
Really pretty wooden walkways as you go along, and there you can see the cascade sort of come to view. Sounds great. Oh, I bet it's lovely to jump in that pool on a hot day. Here we are at the Cascades.
Yeah, you can see behind us, there's a lot of water. We've had a lot of rain down this week, so the good thing about that is the waterfalls are all full.
Yeah, we thought we'd come and take a look and share it with you. You can see the little bubbling stream river running down. Simon's just found some mushrooms. Don't think they're edible ones. I'm not going to risk it. We're just about to go up a very steep hill, and it's really good to have the right footwear, so I'll talk you through what we're both wearing just to go up this massive hill. Simon, yours are Salomon?
Salomon,
Yeah. How long have you had those?
About 18 months.
18 months,
yeah.
And the tread's still good. They've got a Gore-Tex finish on them.
Yeah.
So, and I've got quite an old pair of Berghuis, and they look really tired. They're leather, but they're actually not in too bad condition. I think I need some new ones. I'm thinking of getting some like Simon's, a bit lighter. But the reason I'm just talking about these is because we're going on a really steep uphill walk, and there's lots of roots, and a good sturdy shoe that supports your ankle, it really makes a difference. But it's not even the going uphill, it's the going downhill. With a good support, your toes are held and your feet are held nice and steady in the shoe, and that makes so much difference. I think the first time I went for a proper walk up and down the Lake District, probably, I got such sore and bruised toes from literally coming downhill, and I bought a cheap pair of walking boots, and they really did me a lot of harm. So it's worth investing in a decent pair of walking boots. I'm sure you know that, but anyway, these are the walking boots that we're wearing. And yeah, if you're going to come on this walk to the Cascades, then get some decent boots. Just peeking out into the tree canopy, there's this little oak tree in amongst all of this pine. Lots and lots and lots of pine on a very steep hill.
Right, so before we can put the rafters on and then start getting on with the really exciting bit of putting the boards on and finally the slates on top of the roof, I've still got to put on the wall plate, which is just some wooden bits of, they're about 4 inch by 5 inch, these, and they run all along the top of the wall and the rafters sit on them, and you should be able to see just along there. I put 2 new ones on, and they're just bedded into some lime mortar, and so we've got 3 more. I've been reclaiming the floor joists, cutting the good bits of the floor joists out of the floor that we've taken out in the barn, and just cutting them, ripping them down to size on the bandsaw, and so I've got them cut and ready, and I can put the next 3 up. But before we can do that, we have the job then of once again moving the scaffolding, which has been up and down, up and down, up and down more times than I care to remember already doing this. So, and it is quite easy to move because it's just sections. You just unbolt it, lift them out, carry it down to the ground, move the bottom pieces across, and then bolt them all back in once you've got it level and secure. But yeah, we're going to have to move it now and then probably one more time before I can get the final bits of wood on the top, and it's not the quickest job. So anyway, I'll get on and do that now, and then we can get the more exciting job of getting the next bit of wood on top of the wall ready to put the rafters on. So that's the scaffolding taken down, put back up again, and now we're ready to get the next wall plate on tomorrow morning. Yeah, it's very humid today. It's been a lot of rain and then a lot of sun, which is great for the plants, not so good for moving scaffolding. Yeah, we're not that high, so it's pretty easy to do this one. Well, summer has definitely arrived. It's been switched on here in central France, in Creuse, and yeah, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon now, and it is cooking now, really warm, which is lovely because we've got a lot of fairly cold, fairly damp weather, but now this is beautiful. So it's a good opportunity to go and have a quick look inside the beehive. I'm not going for a full inspection. I'm not going to start pulling frames out or anything because I don't think there's anything to be gained by that at this stage. But what I do want to do is get the lid off, have a look down inside, and just see how they're going in terms of pulling out, drawing out comb. So I'll have a wander down there and get suited up, and then I'll set the camera up so you can see inside what I can see, and we'll see how they're getting on. So before I get around the back and take the lid off, you can see just how busy they are now compared. Well, this is the first, probably one of the first really warm days. We've got about 3 warm days since we've had them, but they just get so much busier once the sun's out and they can collect. And yeah, it's just nice to see them. There's actually a cheeky bumblebee just sat on the hive there. Can smell the honey. She probably wants to get in and get the honey. There's just a hairline crack between the 2 boxes, but I don't think the bumblebee's tongue's long enough to get in there, so if it is, the other honeybees will probably come and have a go at it. We'll get the top of the hive off, and I'll get my suit on first and get the top of the hive off and have a look and see what's going on inside. Okay, so what you can see here, this is just the top cover, and take that off, and as soon as you get that off inside you'll see the hive. And I don't know how many bees will be at the top. I just slide it off a bit. There we are, there's a few of them. A few on the lid, nice and clean on the lid. And they're very, you can probably see they're very calm, these bees. They're not too interested in what I'm doing, which is exactly what we want. So just looking down inside, and there's quite a bit of activity on here, but I can't see, there's no comb being drawn out in there yet. So we'll pull out 1 or 2 of these frames. There's nothing on them, I don't think, at all. Some bees wandering about. Oh, actually, for saying that, well, I might hold my horses here because they are just starting to draw some comb out there. So that's great. And they made a bit of burr comb there that's going to come up. I'm really not worried about that because of the way I'm doing it. In actual fact, if they make a bridge on here, in the winter, this is a bit sort of a guess, but theoretically from my point of view they can climb right up and get the honey, because they'll store honey at the top, and this year particularly, this is all for them. If they fill this, which they may do because there's a lot of forage around here, then what we will do is we will maybe take 1 comb off the end, because that will also allow me to put the feeder back in, and if we can do that, then we'll take the honey out of that, but the rest of it definitely will all be for them this year. But it looks like they're doing really well, actually. Starting to draw some comb out there, so I'll change my mind on that, and I'll put those frames back in and put this back together. Right. Certainly a good quantity of bees in there, which is great because we're 2 weeks in. It's a big fat drone here. I don't know if you can see him. We're 2 weeks in, well, 2.5 weeks from putting them into this hive, and we put a nuke in, so they had some brood, which is good, and a lot of these bees here will be bees that have hatched since we put them in the hive, but it's good to see just how many there are, and that we haven't had any sort of population decline with, as the bees that came with the nuke die off, they're being replaced, and we can see on some of these, I can see some pollen. So I'm happy with that. I'll put this back on and we'll give them another 10 days or so and have another look, and then we'll see whether they've been able to build comb up, or whether it is literally just a tiny bit that they're messing about with, and in which case I will remove the top box. But we'll give them a few days and see how they get on, because they should, theoretically, they should need this now if it's warm, and they've got a lot to go at here in terms of nectar and pollen. think the critical thing is just to be as relaxed and slow and gentle as you can. I know a lot of people don't like the gloves and they are a bit awkward, but they do save you worrying about getting stung on the hand, which of course then might make you drop a frame, especially when you're new to it. I'll put this feeder back in. I shouldn't need to use it. I'll put it back in for now. It's there if it gets cold and wet again. I don't think it will, but if it gets cold and rubbishy again, it's there. I can soon fill it up. I know you won't do anything with it, I don't think, over the next couple of weeks, and then in a couple of weeks' time I can just take that out and pop. I've got a few more frames, so I can pop another frame into there if they're doing well on building the comb. But yeah, I can see them around where that comb is. They're quite busy around there, so they can draw that out and then carry on filling up the rest of the hive with comb. Good. When you put the top cover back on, I just put it on there and slowly slide it across, and there's not really any danger of squashing any bees doing that. Right, good, that's back on. Insulation back on. Put the roof back on, hopefully not trapping any bees in it. That's it, we're all done. It's good to have the protection of the suit, but it's quite warm even though it's all white. It's not, it's fairly shady down here, which is good this time of day. It was sort of part of when I was thinking where to put the bees. I thought, well, in the sunshine, in the middle of the day, in the summer here, June, July, August, September, it can get really warm. So I thought there they've got shade in the middle of the day, but it's quite good when you come down here at 8 o'clock in the morning. The hive's in full sun, and they obviously get woken up quite well and they get quite busy quite quick. Yeah, nice to see them moving, starting to make some comb up in the top box, which is good. We want to see them more or less filling that. Fill that up with honey, then they should be good for the winter. I will come down in 2 or 3 weeks and do a sugar dust on them, and the point of that, if you coat them in icing sugar, is to try and encourage them to groom each other, because of these little mites, these varroa mites that bees can get, and they get everywhere, pretty much everywhere in Europe, everywhere in America. They'll pick these mites up, and if they get too many of them, the mites actually feed on the larvae, so the young, and then the new bees either don't hatch at all, or they end up with diseases which can stop their wings growing properly and everything like that. So you do need to, well, you don't necessarily need to do anything. Sometimes you'll have bees that naturally will clean each other, and that would be the long-term aim. But I think to start with, I shall try. The only thing I really want to do is an icing sugar dust, totally chemical free, nothing you wouldn't eat yourself. It's obviously not going to hurt the bees, it's not going to hurt us if it gets in the honey, and it'll just help them. It'll just give them a little bit of a helping hand, and I'll probably do that 4 times this year. Probably now, again in August, then probably September and October. And if they've got good forage and they're strong, then they'll be able to survive all of these troubles that get thrown at them. I'll just do a quick, I'll show you though, round here they've got around here, right in front of the hive, as you come round, and you can see hopefully over there, that opens up. That whole field is full of flowers, wildflowers, poppies. There's cow parsley all around the edges. There's buttercup, so it's full of poppies. You can't see it from here, but on the right hand side of this field there's a load of chestnut that's in full flower at the moment, and then behind the nettles, that is all bramble. It's full of bramble, which is an absolute pain in the neck for us, but of course it will be covered with flowers in a few weeks, and that again will provide a lot of nectar. So, and then we've got just masses of flower all around. So if they can't do well here, quite honestly, I don't think they'll do well anywhere really. It's probably about as good a home as you could get for bees around here. And I mean, we see so many bumbles.
Back in the office editing, and it's been really hot outside, so I'm just going to show you a few bits of the garden, and I think we're going to wrap it up for today. I've got lots more footage, and we'll see you next Wednesday.